we're quite up yet. All right. Hey everybody, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Matt Brickman. I want to get you the latest on these storms because after a relatively quiet evening, looks like they're really just starting to flare up right now. The highlight of which is out west. Severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Hunterdon and Warren County until about 15 minutes from now. And this area is a particular concern for me just because Hunterdon County is one of those spots that got absolutely slammed a week ago with heavy rain. Parts of Hunterdon County, and I think it was more to the south of the county there, but got close to 9 inches of rain. So don't like to see thunderstorms moving through that area. We do have a flash flood warning a little north of there. This is for Warren County. This one goes all the way till 4:30 in the morning. And let's take a look at some of the rainfall rates here just over the last hour. Yeah, this is why. So in green, you're talking 1 to 2 inches an hour. In yellow, you're talking 2 to 3 inches in an hour. And then you've got 3 to 4 inches in an hour within that line of very heavy rain and thunderstorms. Give you a little bit of a wider picture at what we're looking at right now. You can see there are quite a few spots of heavy rain moving up into the Hudson Valley, but it's really, I'll go ahead and highlight it here for you. It's really this bit right here. What's moving in western New Jersey, kind of right around Allentown to Clinton. It's that line that I think could cause the most trouble through the night tonight. And the trouble would be damaging winds, quite a bit of lightning, and probably the heaviest rain that we are going to see embedded within this line of thunderstorms. I'll give you a little bit of a closer look in where we are right now. For the most part, this is moving, well, it's interesting now. Okay, so we are getting kind of a secondary line racing out ahead of this. I'll pause it here. Getting a secondary line kind of racing out ahead of what has been a relatively unified cold front throughout the evening thus far. But I'll show you a couple things. So this line here in yellow, go ahead and circle it. You're kind of getting this little outflow boundary starting to pop up there with some stronger thunderstorms along that line and still a fair amount of lightning. Look how narrow it is. And then you've kind of got the secondary push. This is where we've seen the bulk of our activity tonight, kind of on the back side of it. So what could happen here, and what looks like it is happening, is this initial wave, and I'm trying not to draw it all over the screen, but this initial wave could just be pushing east, and that's where we're likely to see those stronger winds and the severe thunderstorm warnings. So Warren County, Hunterdon County, and then kind of moving eastward into Somerset, and if it holds together long enough, parts of Morris County into Union and Essex, and I don't think it'll hold on much beyond that. But behind that, the general movement, and I'll clear all this out of the way now, the general movement of this has been from the southwest to the northeast, and I think that's where we're still going to see kind of the back edge of that line go. Give you a little bit of a wider picture. So that front end, that front line, stronger winds along there could do some damage. The general motion, though, is still southwest to northeast. I just got a question in here from Susan who wants to know how this will affect Morris County. So we just talked about that a little, but I'll give you a little bit of a closer look. Susan, thanks for joining us late at night here. So Morris County is just starting to see, I'm going to roll it back a bit for you, is just starting to see a couple of thunderstorms out ahead of this line. Again, you've got that flash flood warning in Warren County. So for folks who don't know where Morris County is, it's right here. I think what you're going to see, Susan, and you could certainly see some damaging winds, if this line holds together, because that's where we're seeing the strongest winds right now, is that severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see kind of that little bow shape. Let me get all this stuff off your screen. That little bow shape right here. That, I think, could certainly push up into Morris County. And there's even what looks like a little bit of a hail core in there. Maybe not too bad. But you can see the shape that's taking. We call these bow lines because they look like an archer's bow. They've got that bend to them. That's usually an indication of strong winds racing out ahead of a line of storms. So that could be moving up into Morris County, I would say, within the next hour or so. Another question here from Maureen about Long Island. This is going to be a while longer for Maureen to see the effects out in Long Island. But let me give you an idea of kind of the future radar, because I think this is going to hit in 2 waves out on Long Island, and this will end up being significant into the day tomorrow. So here's what happens. You can see the thunderstorms moving through this evening, and there you go. There's that outrunning front line. You can see it pushing into Long Island down in the Jersey Shore. Okay, that's in line with what we're seeing so far. Back end kind of falls apart. But as we get into the day tomorrow, looks like we're getting a little bit of a lull. I think this front gets caught up. It stalls out. It stops moving. And we could see more activity along that line as we get into the day tomorrow. So while most of the rain is going to be east of the city at that point, Suffolk County, maybe even back into Nassau County, could still be seeing some heavy rain into the day tomorrow. This is what we call a stationary front. So you can see that cold front, typical behavior, west to east, but then it just kind of gets stuck and just kind of bobs out to the east, and that's where we can continue to see activity along that line. I mean, that's 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and still seeing storms hanging on. A couple of people asking about Queens. Yeah, I certainly understand that after last week. I'll just remind folks, well, if you're just joining us, maybe you haven't seen us on TV tonight. It's a very, very, very different system than what we had a week ago. This is, I know we're talking about flash flooding, and I know we're talking about strong thunderstorms, but what we had a week ago was a slow-moving tropical system that drug all that moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico, and then we found ourselves kind of on the north side of this warm front, and we just got thunderstorm after thunderstorm after thunderstorm. And we could see a little bit of that far out west. You might see some of those what are called training thunderstorms. Looks like that's what's happening right now out in Warren County. We're not going to see that in Queens. We're not going to see that in any of the 5 boroughs tonight. I really don't even think that we're going to see that in northeastern New Jersey. If we see that at all, it's going to be northwestern New Jersey tonight. And I don't think the rain totals are going to be anywhere close to what we saw a week ago. Last week, I don't need to remind you folks, but 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of rain. Those totals were common throughout the area. I think a lot of us get through tonight with less than an inch of rain. The spots you're seeing out west, those are the outliers. The flash flood warnings we're seeing there likely aren't going to flood the screen like we saw last week, where it seemed like the entire area was under a flash flood warning, and at one point most of us were. But just to give you an idea here what the National Weather Service thinks of what we've got going on, they've allowed the severe thunderstorm watch to expire now for the remainder of the night. So I don't think we're done by any means, but what they're saying is that the threat for continued severe thunderstorms doesn't look like it's there. So they must be looking at this line here and say, okay, it looks like this is weakening. It looks like that front edge is going to pull away and separate, and that should weaken the overall line of storms. We still have a fair amount, I'll pause it here, we still have a fair amount of lightning within this line. Yeah, Not a ton though. 45 strikes of lightning, that's not a huge number. I mean, when we've got like a big, nasty line of thunderstorms and we're worried about widespread severe weather, that number's in the hundreds. So 45, any bit of lightning can be dangerous. We've seen that plenty this summer, but these aren't the huge numbers. I think my big concern here is going to be the flash flooding threat for the remainder of the evening. I'll just give you one look at what's left for the remainder of the night as far as rain goes. Oh, why did that quit on me? I would say I'll just ballpark it. To the northwest, I think we've got maybe another inch here. And it would be spots like Hunterdon, Morris, Passaic, maybe even up into Orange County, New York, perhaps part of Putnam and southern Dutchess County tonight. Maybe another inch there. And then tomorrow, with that additional rainfall hanging on, I would watch out in Suffolk County and then down the Jersey Shore. We might pick up another inch of rain down that direction. But again, a very different system than what we saw a week ago. An inch or two at most for many of us, and less than an inch for a lot of us. But we'll stay on top of it, at least until all these severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings expire, and it looks like the threat is going away. But right now we'll be here on top of it. And